And
Because I know what Holly's had, she has.
My goodness.
brought in.
Yeah, they're all that full area.
Well,
Because as the day went on, he was,
$20 a
but
piece.
I know
Two of
Brian
those.
Elliott has that building behind the church there.
Yeah. Does he have city water?
Got some money.
Doesn't have any.
Doesn't have any water.
Well,
Is that home tenant? Okay.
Met the people have
he
pumps
goes
too
across
for a
the
long
street,
time.
his wife got to take the shower. Because he can hook up to city.
Mayor.
I know there was
There's plenty of months ago about last year's.
Lots of room.
each their own.
Yeah. It's, people just aren't interested in that kind of thing anymore.
I have access to city water at my house, but I have a well, which saves me a lot of money on sewer. Because I've got a flat rate of like
You couldn't sure fight your way through
$22.
Oh, that's
You'd all rise. I'll call this common council meeting to order, and we'll start with the invocation by Jack Wilhite. Thank you, Jack.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, thanking you for your many blessings, our community, our neighbors, and the resources you so generously provide. Today we pause to remember those in Texas who experienced great loss this past weekend. Lord, we ask that you bring comfort and peace in a way that only you can. As we now turn our attention to the business of our city, we pray for understanding, knowledge, and wisdom. Guide our thoughts and decisions so that we may serve your city, our city, with integrity, compassion, and clarity of purpose. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. We do have the minutes from the June 16th meeting. Hi, Scott. And while they're looking at that, for the record, all council members are present.
Thank you.
There are no questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'd move to approve.
Motion.
As
Motion to approve by Jerry. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And a second by Cindy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Thank you. I do want to welcome all of our visitors that are here today. I know everybody's important. I know you wouldn't want me to mention his name, but I will because I'm in this seat right now. Hi, Ernie Wiggins. How are you doing? Longtime councilman and mayor. It's not very often we get to see you here, and it's a privilege to be serving tonight with you here. So thank you. And again, welcome to everybody. Reports oral and written. Save the dates. Lynn, budgets.
It's that time of year, and I always give this out to you guys so you'll know what important dates are for the budget timeline and what dates you should be at the council meetings to hear budget meetings and to be here for the public hearing as well as the approval of the budget.
So it's almost an entire page. Looks like first reading, public hearing is September 15th. And then as you work your way all the way down to the bottom, October 6th is the 2026 budget adoption final reading. And then again, everything in between. And please mark your calendars. Anything in here, Lynn, in between you want to highlight or just check it? And
Well, we'll have budget reviews on the August 4th and August 18th meetings, and that's when the departments will come in and present their budgets, and those meetings start at 6 o'clock p.m.
yeah, the red flag there starts at 6 on those days. Any questions for Lynn?
let me know when the drop gift basket's off so I can be the first one to present.
Well, it depends on what's in the swag bag, Nick.
You want to go alphabetically, Nick?
I'll take that too.
Yeah. That takes us to the, no vote needed there. It takes us to the third quarter investment report. Go back to Lynn again, if you have any questions.
The investment that triggered me to do this report and would be number 8, and we have monies invested from our debt service reserve funds at Bank of New York through the SRF loan agreements, and so that's what they were up for maturity and for renewal, so that's what triggered this. But I must tell you that I have been laxed, and I did not bring anything for the first quarter or the second quarter of this year, and those would be investments number 6 and 7. You know, the CD at First Federal, some other U.S. Treasury notes.
Any questions
So
there?
number 8, Lynn, was that a recent renewal?
Yes,
Okay.
just on the 2nd of July.
Okay.
And they always invest theirs in U.S. Treasury, so.
Okay.
Any other questions for Lynn? Okay, that'll take us to unfinished business. Nick, it does look like you're going to get up here sooner than later. Ordinance 2025-0702. This is a second reading. Nick, give us a brief history and update. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so as we discussed at the last meeting, this is really just to appropriate the $500,000 that the county has contributed to our runway rehab project. We have awarded that project. Fenn and Brown was the low bid. It came in a little bit under what our OPC was for that, so it was underneath that professional cost estimate. So we're excited to get that project underway, and we just need the council to help us get this money in the account so we can get the project finalized. So I believe we don't have a set start date yet. Fenn and Brown, their summer schedule got a little bit wonky when the State Road 13 issue happened up there, and so I think right now they are currently planning to do Airport Road the week of July 14th. And then once after Airport Road is complete, they're just, since all the equipment's already going to be there for Airport Road, they're just going to move it around and stage on the runway and get that knocked out right afterwards. So we're guessing end of July, beginning of August, they'll be starting on that project.
And this is the public hearing.
Any other comments, Nick?
Not for me, unless you have questions. We've talked about this one a lot, so I don't want to take all your time up again, so.
Okay, Nick, we may need you to come back up here in a minute, but this is a public hearing on ordinance 2025-07-02. It did pass on first reading. This is our look at second reading. Would anybody from the public like to speak for or against this ordinance? Would anybody like to speak for or against? Would anybody like to ask any questions? Hearing none, I'll close it to the public and I'll take it back to the council for your consideration. Again, this is ordinance 2025-0702. Nick, can you help me some more?
Like I said, the total project cost is just over $1 million. $500,000 is going to be the county's contribution. The airport's going to cover the rest with our capital improvement funds. And this is going to rehabilitate the western third of our main runway. It is some of the worst pavement at the airport that's not currently under grant or currently being worked on. And so getting this project started, hopefully in the next year or two, we can rehabilitate the entire runway. Again, reminder, this is a Band-Aid fix. This is not a permanent fix. We are fixing the transverse cracks and doing a mill and fill just so that it's smoother and safer for our aircraft. We're hoping this gets us a 10 to 12-year life on that runway. And then at that point, we'll be doing a major federal project to rehabilitate the entire runway and reconstruct it at that time.
Thanks, Nick, for your comments.
I have just a real quick
Yeah,
question.
Mike.
Just for the interest of the public,
Mhm.
you're doing the western third of our major runway.
Correct.
About, how many feet is that? How long is that? Just so people.
Approximately 2,000.
2,000 feet?
Mhm.
Okay.
And to put this in comparison, it's roughly 2 of US 30 wide. That's what I don't think the general public realizes, is that is 10 lane miles wide, that runway is. So we've got our main runway is it's 6,003 feet, and it is 10 lane miles wide, so it's 6,003 by 100. So it is a lot of asphalt that is getting fixed out there. It's an incredible amount of asphalt in one place at one time. If you look at just our 2 main runways, as well as our main taxiways and ramp that we maintain, we have approximately 19 and a half lane miles of asphalt just in those. When you look at all of our other asphalt for the taxi lanes, ramps, and everything else, we're probably closer to 25, 26 lane miles that we maintain out there. So it's a lot of asphalt we take care of.
Thank you.
How thick will
This one's going to be a 2-inch mill and fill. The actual runway itself is approximately 29-ish inches at the crown at the center, and about 24 to 27 inches on the shoulders. It's been added to, so there's varying levels of thickness throughout the runway, but that's the approximate thickness of that asphalt out there. So
2,000 feet, did you say?
yeah,
6-7 football fields,
yeah.
10 lane. Perspective.
So if you did the entire runway, it'd probably be around 3 million at 2 inches, roughly?
If we phase it, the current way, we just don't have the cash to be able to do the entire runway at once. We're estimating 3.3 to 3.6 with cost multipliers over the next 3 years. If we can find a way to get it done in a shorter amount of time, I think mobilization and demobilization is a huge part of any project. And so that's where the real cost savings is not having to bring the equipment in and out. We actually have to build a temporary road for this project from the staging area to the runway. So putting that in and then taking it out, we're going to leave a portion of it, but we have to stay outside of the aircraft operating area. So there's a section that will just be a stockpile of rock for the next 3 years. But those are the costs that if we can find some extra money, either this year or next, it would really help us save some money in the long term.
So during that time, will that runway be completely closed down
Correct.
for,
Yep.
what, about a week?
No, it's about a 45-day process.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not, anything airport, it's not like a public road where you can come in and just, and hammer it out in a week. Everything that we have to do from all of our testing, I don't want to bore you with all the details of it, but the amount of data we have to collect and then submit to the FAA, just the engineering side of it's close to 210,000, 220,000, just for the testing and the design and then all the as-built and drawings that we have to submit then afterwards to the FAA.
So with just the other runway, what's the biggest aircraft that can land on that?
So the other we can still operate all of our aircraft. They just can't take as much fuel. That's the biggest thing. So working with our customers, we have one tenant that is heading to Zurich while that runway's closed. And so we've had to work with our engineers, and we know what dates they're leaving, and they know that. Another big thing is the density altitude. So really hot, humid days, aircraft don't fly very well. They fly a lot, they like cold weather. Middle of January and February, they perform a lot better. It's those hot, dense days they really do not like, and so we've had to work with our companies to let them know what the limitations of that north-south runway are and get them the info that they need so that they can still operate while the main runway's closed.
Any other questions for Nick? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve on second reading.
I would move to approve ordinance 2025-07-02 on second reading.
There's a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, guys.
That takes us to new business, a cab summary and overview of a deviated fixed route. We have some representatives from MACOG that would like to share with us probably a brief update on where they are. I do know that there's been discussions in my conference room. I know that you presented to Traffic Commission, and where are we today, and why are you here? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to present today. My name is Kristen Rude, and I'm the CAB's General Manager. And then MACOG is here with me this evening, also Aiden and Jeremiah. And as Mayor Gross shared, we're here to share an update and present to the council to start that process of gaining necessary approvals for ordinances for our stop implementation and sign implementation. So just kind of a little detail, this route we're looking to launch in the fall, and our goal is to enhance local transit access, reliability, and affordability for residents and visitors alike. A deviated fixed route operates on a published schedule with a designated stops, but allows for limited off-route pickups or drop-offs within a defined distance. Our route will be a quarter mile of that route. This flexible model ensures both structure and accessibility, particularly for those individuals with mobility challenges or those living slightly off that route. The route details, we're looking to operate Monday through Friday, service hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our fare structure will be $1 per trip for those deviated, or for those fixed stops, and then 50 cents for the deviated requests. All of our vehicles that will operate this route are ADA accessible, and they will also be equipped with bike racks to offer that to the public. Some of our proposed stop locations are areas like Walmart, Kroger's, Lutheran, Kosciuszko, Warsaw Public Library, also residential areas, community services, healthcare providers. I provided a map ahead of this meeting to Justin, so I hope that you guys have access to that map. And I would be definitely interested in talking through those stops more, however much you guys would like to discuss those. But why this route matters is to increase accessibility. It offers affordable and reliable transportation for those in the community. Our goal is to help with workforce and economic development, so providing transportation to major employers, educational institutions, and other service providers. Also health and human services, increasing access to the public to and from doctor's appointments, behavioral health services, and community support agencies. Sustainability, this route encourages public transit use and multimodal transportation through the bike racks. And then equity ensures inclusive mobility for all residents by offering the deviation options and maintaining low fares. Our goal is to serve all Warsaw residents, with particular focus on those who face transportation barriers. In conclusion, the Warsaw Deviated Fixed Route, which we're officially calling the Lake City Loop, represents a vital step toward creating a more connected, inclusive, and mobile community by offering the affordable and accessible transportation with both fixed and flexible options. It's designed to meet the diverse needs of Warsaw residents, and we're proud to bring this forward in partnership with the city and local stakeholders. So at this time, I'd like to open the floor for questions. As I said, I know I shared a map and then also some more details about those stops. So any questions you guys have, we'd love to answer.
A lot of work has gone into this, and again, most recently, presentation to Traffic Commission.
Correct. We presented last week to the Traffic Commission and got a favorable recommendation. We are also working with NDOT for the Indiana 15 stops to get approvals or look at any other alternatives that might be needed there.
Lake City Loop, has everybody had an opportunity to see the map? And yeah, north, east, west, loops right around here. And, pretty neat how they've put all this together. And, do you have any questions for them? Just presenting tonight to make us aware as a council.
Correct. We understand we will need an ordinance approved for the sign implementation, so presenting the information tonight as we work towards that ordinance.
I just have a couple questions. If someone wants to access Parkview Hospital, would that be an extra charge?
So our closest stop to Parkview Hospital is at Mariners Drive and North Point, that stop
I
sign.
saw that kind of like just outside of where the Y is.
So it
that
could be
sign.
serviced through a deviation. It would be a 50-cent charge to service it directly.
To get right up to the door, so if somebody needs to go in and aren't mobile enough to do that, they would have to pay an extra 50 cents.
Correct.
But to the other hospital, it's free.
It's part of the $1 fare for the other hospital. And one additional note, we will be offering an unlimited monthly calendar month rider pass for this. So for a $20 fee, individuals can buy a monthly pass and ride those dollar rides unlimited. So that we're hoping will help, offset costs. It's very affordable for most residents.
Okay. And then what are the traffic rules? I mean, I notice you have one stop right at Detroit and Anchorage, right on 15. So how do you do that safely?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to speak for other cities, but it's not uncommon to have stops at those high traffic locations.
So just for example, in Elkhart, which we also help manage, in Goshen, we do this all the time on 33. And basically, we just have the bus put its flashers on and briefly stop, just kind of as close to the curb as they can. We will be blocking traffic briefly, but it's not like a school bus where there's an arm goes out to stop all traffic. You have to be on that side of the street. You can still pass the bus while it's stopped.
Okay, so once this goes into effect, then motorists are really going to need to be watching for that bus stopping.
Correct, yes. So that would
Okay.
be unfortunately, another hazard. And I mean, we've looked on 15 to try and see where we can pull in. And ideally, we're hoping that we can mostly do this through deviations. That's why there are very few stops on 15 with those couple of traffic lights. Making all of 15 just by deviations didn't seem feasible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I think that was one of the main concerns at Traffic Commission. We discussed that an awful lot because we had real concerns about stopping along Detroit or State Road 15.
Yeah.
I remember
Thanks,
up in
Cindy.
my office too, you guys were very good and lengthy discussion there, but if a deviation is requested, you'll be able to go on 15 right to that location. Right, okay.
Correct. Deviations we'd pull
Yeah.
off of 15. It's
Yeah.
just so that there are those couple of opportunities so that you don't always have to call for a deviation to get picked up at those two locations.
Okay.
I do have a fair question, and I apologize because I may only picked up part of the article, but I thought I saw something where you were requesting an increased rate or increased fares?
The increased rate is regarding our on-demand transportation. So that will be for a different service model. So this will be the deviated fixed. It will continue to operate at that dollar fare. And then the on-demand transportation, those fares we are looking at increasing.
Do you have a projection of how many people you'll serve in a year?
So conversations I've had with MACOG, and correct me if I'm wrong, Aiden, but a successful route for implementation is 4 people per hour, correct? For the first year. So getting off the floor, it's really going to depend on the reception with the public, and we plan on getting out there with education, helping inform the public that this is going to be an option. Of course, the closer we get to winter with rollout, the less we expect to have that ridership because it'll be colder. So we're hoping to get out and roll in the fall. But that would be, I guess, our goal.
Okay. One other question to that. Thanks for the answer there. I noticed you start at 8 and you go till 6. What if somebody needs to get to work by 8 o'clock, but they need to use your transportation? Is there been any thought to starting at 7:30 perhaps, or something to accommodate their needs?
So this is a starting point. This is a pilot route, and if the reception is great, the need is there. Down the road, we may look at expanding those hours or adding additional routes. I can't, speak to what that would look like, but there's definitely room for growth in the future if the need is there. In the meantime, our on-demand bus service operates 5:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, so people can still be serviced through that on-demand portion.
Perfect.
How long does it take to make a complete circle?
It'll be an hour loop.
An hour loop?
Mm-hmm.
How many units do you have out? Just
We'll have one bus operating the route.
16 stops
Yes, correct.
on the loop, 1 hour, once you get on, to get all the way back to where you started.
I just want to comment, looking at the map, and I'm very impressed the way you hit all the main areas. And in Warsaw, it looks like there's not a single area in downtown that's more than 3 blocks away from your route. So very good job. I'm very impressed. And you
Thank you.
picked up Winona Lake too.
Thank you.
Very impressed with it.
The map that they've offered is on page 3. You can see it. Any other questions from the council?
So they're just looking for some moral support from us and.
Right now, it's been working with community stakeholders, working with the city of Warsaw, asking for a recommendation from Traffic Commission, which you did get a favorable recommendation.
Correct.
And now to inform the council, representing the public, wanting to once again come before us and tell us that they're continuing to move forward. My understanding is you're not looking for any action tonight, you're just wanting to make sure that the city council now is aware of the
Correct.
steps that you're attempting to take.
Correct. We do, in the future, we do plan to come back. We will need to review an ordinance to get approval, but for tonight, we just wanted to make the council aware of kind of where we're at and what we're looking at.
Justin Taylor, Jeremy Skinner, and I were in a meeting, and I know those discussions were brought up about, again, the steps that we'll take and then what they will have to do working with this group as well as you to craft ordinance to make sure that all is good, again, if there's continued support. So a lot more steps to take. Your goal, again, is hopefully to get going by, did I hear September, October, September?
We would love to be up and running by September, yes.
September, right, okay.
We're hoping to have an ordinance, at least a draft ready for the next meeting.
Okay, good. Yeah, so they're working on it. Any other questions? Kristen? Oh, go ahead.
Just some information for the rest of the council. Yeah, this did come before traffic, and it does come with a favorable recommendation. We got into the weeds for a while, and fortunately, Jeremy pulled us out of them. We talked a lot about stops along 15, and it was decided that, first of all, you needed to go to NDOT and say, is this possible on a state road, and are these stops good? And I assume MACOG has probably got a good feel for that, but that step most likely still has to happen.
I've had email correspondence with NDOT. I still have to submit some paperwork, but
Yeah.
I've been in correspondence with them.
And as far as ordinance, there are some stops that will be, that will have to put into ordinance so that a stop can be done in that particular place, but it won't cover all the stops. It doesn't cover the entire route as much as it does particular stops along the way. And after much discussion at traffic, we decided that yes, there are bugs that are going to crop up. There are things that are going to have to be modified, but at this point, we really don't know what those are. So this is a good first first try, and it's something that I think the community would benefit from. It's just a matter of, don't expect it to be perfect out the gate. You know, nothing ever is, but this could cause a little bit of heartburn, but we'll get there.
I do appreciate the efforts again, and again, I think of $1, maybe $1.50 if you go off route, to offer the ability to, Jerry, within 1 hour, you can, the loop, you can make it around the entire city, offering transportation to everybody within the city. So I just appreciate the efforts that you've made. Obviously, the bugs and reevaluating and determining 6 months, a year or more into it, where are we, where do we need to go? I'm sure you'll be doing that for us. So.
Yep.
Good.
I do have one more question. Say I get on it down here at Winona and Scott. Okay, I pay $1 to get on, right? And go out here to Walmart and get off. And I'm out shopping for who knows how long. Do I have to pay another $1 when I get back on it? So in other words, I have $2 invested.
Correct. It's $1 per bus entrance.
Yeah.
And you did say you'll offer a $20
Correct.
unlimited?
Yes. Calendar month unlimited
for a
bus
month.
pass.
So if you are going to use it quite a bit, Jerry, it'd probably be in your best interest to get the $20 unlimited for a month.
You know, see if my wife will approve.
Get you out of the house, right? Yeah.
I see you have bike racks, which you're going to make a lot of people happy with that, and you're also ADA compatible. Does that mean somebody with a wheelchair has access in and out of the bus fairly easy?
All of our buses are lift equipped, so the buses on this route will
You are
have lift.
stopping at some healthcare providers, so that's important. Good
Yep.
job. I like this.
Thank you.
It's a great start.
Appreciate the presentation tonight. Continued efforts. It looks like you'll be back later this month or early the following to present some ordinance that will be needed. Okay. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And be safe going back. Next item on the agenda, Steve, I see you here. You've been waiting patiently. 615 South Union Street, an alley vacation. If the council looks at the memo from Justin Taylor, this concerns a petition for the vacation of an alleyway located on north of 615 South Union Street. The property owners, Jerry and Joellen Deaton, seek to vacate a portion of a public way. This alleyway, platted in 1904, has remained unimproved since its creation. It currently bisects the petitioner's
Thank you, sir.
property, preventing them from the construction of a garage. A utility locate was conducted in the second week of June, confirmed that no utilities would be impacted by the vacation of this alley. The plan department recommends approval of this vacation request as outlined in ordinance number 2025-0701. The vacation of this alley will not hinder the orderly development of the area and does not serve as access to any property other than the petitioners or to any public place. Steve, again, welcome. Thank you for the map that you've provided. I believe council also has this, but always nice to have it. Steve Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, in my opinion, a relatively simple resolution to a problem that nobody really knew existed. Mr. and Mrs. Deaton bought the property. They bought a lot and a half. They weren't aware there was anything between the half lot and their full lot until it came time to build a garage attached to their residence, and they found out there's this space in there. I've attached a copy of the original plat of Walborn's edition that shows that. All we're asking to do tonight is to vacate it so they can finish start and finish their construction project. As Justin indicated in his memo to council, nobody really has paid any attention to this for the last 120-plus years, and we need to resolve it. There are no utilities in it. The utility check was run. Once it's vacated, the ordinance is recorded. The county auditor will show this property to be owned by the Deatons, since they're the owners of the lots on both sides of it. Then they can come get a building permit and build their attached garage.
Any questions for Steve? I
Was this going
believe
to Plan Commission or anybody else eyes on this?
favorable recommendation from the city planner.
City planner.
Steve, and council here, ordinance number 2025-0701, just one vote tonight, and then they will be able to do what they want. This doesn't require 2 readings or 2 votes.
If you require 2 readings, we'll be back in a couple of weeks and do the
No.
second.
We don't require 2 readings for this ordinance.
Okay,
Okay. I mean,
Thank you.
Technically, zoning matters don't require 2 readings, but wasn't sure your policy. I've been places where that statute is just ignored. But we would certainly be happy with approval tonight and not returning.
thank you. Any other questions or concerns?
No, it seems very reasonable to me, so I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2025-0701.
Motion by Diane to approve the request. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jurgen. Any further comments or questions?
Is this a public hearing?
It's a public hearing, so you may want to ask if anyone is here to comment.
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, thank you for that, Lynn. Thank you, Steve. Okay,
Okay,
there's a
I'll put
motion.
my motion on hold.
Yeah, motion and a second, and what we'll do is we'll put that on hold. Thanks, Diane and Lynn. Would anyone that is present this evening like to speak for or against this request? This is ordinance 2025-0701, alley vacation. Would anybody like to speak for or against, or have any questions about this ordinance? Hearing none, I'll close it to the public, and I'll go back to the council that has a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the council?
So I see that a certified letter went out to the contiguous property owners, and there's been no word back from them, no remonstrance or anything?
I heard from Sue Bailey, and once she understood what the petition involved, she had no problem. From a technical standpoint, there are no adjoining owners, but we did issue notice just to the 2 people at the rear of this so they would understand. But Sue confirmed she has no problems, and I didn't hear from the other investor.
Okay. When did that happen?
When did those go out? They went out at the same time that the notices went to the newspapers, so I'll see what date that was. That would have been June 4.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
have no problem with this. I just wanted to make sure ample time had, those people had ample time to remonstrate if they needed to.
Any other questions or comments?
Who gave the second on that motion?
Jurgen. Motion by Diane and second by Jurgen.
Are we closed to the public?
Yes.
Hearing's over?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Any further comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay.
Abstain.
The ayes have it. All right, good. Good deal. All right, good. Thank you.
No? What's your
Chief Schilling, been so patient back there.
In front of you is just a transfer request to transfer the FSSA grant funds in the amount of $50,448.97 from the FSSA grant or a CARES grant back into our general operating fund 2243. So this is just a reimbursement grant to reimburse us for our expenses for CARES.
Okay.
And this was approved by the Fire Territory Board on July 1st.
Amounts $50,448.97. This is Resolution 2025-0701. Any questions for the chief? Any further comments?
Nope.
No?
Like he said, it did come to fire territory last Tuesday. We discussed it and we approved it. Just FYI.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-0701.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Any
That was
further to-
Cindy.
Oh, Cindy, second by Cindy, thank you. All right, good, I saw several and I think I was looking at you. And so a motion and a second, thanks for that. Any further comments? Questions?
Yeah.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Any other matters come before the council?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to talk just a little bit about the parking project that we've got coming up. I believe it's going to be starting a soft opening, so to speak, in the next month or so. I had a lady come up to me yesterday after church, and she told me, she says, I just want you to know that when the city starts with this, with their new parking strategy, that I will not be coming down to the city and parking there anymore. And I asked her, why she took this stance, and she said, we don't use our phones for stuff like that. And I told her I had been talking with the mayor and with with Justin, and they had devised a plan that going forward, when it starts, we are not requiring people to start up their 2 hours when they first park. In other words, you can park in that parking place just like you always have. And what will happen is
For 2 hours.
For 2 hours.
when a meter man comes, we used to call them meter maids, but meter man comes through. What do we call them? What do we call them? Parking. What do we call them?
Yes.
Parking.
Compliance officer.
Compliance officer, okay.
There you go.
I want to be proper.
You're doing great.
When a compliance officer comes by and sees that your vehicle is not registered in the system, they will automatically start the system then for you. So you will have 2 hours from the time that starts. This will keep the system starting just like we've always done. Currently today, if you come downtown and you park, you got 2 hours from the time you start, from the time you park. And this will be carried forward. Now, the difference being in that when you come downtown and you want to park here longer than 2 hours, then it would benefit you greatly to start it on your phone and get started in the system, because then you can pay for extra hours. If you do not start it, and the compliance officer has to start it for you, you're not going to get notified, you're not going to have a way to get extra hours. So that's the system that we've got set up currently, that's what we're going with. Now, there may be changes, who knows? The deviated fixed route, there's going to be bugs. We're going to have to fix some things, I'm sure. But this is our first best guess at how to make it work. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that going forward. We want to make this as easy for you to come downtown as possible. And the only reason why we got this started and was because there were people who were abusing the system, and they would move their vehicles from one spot to another. They would move it forward a couple of inches, or and they would be parked there all day long, and they were maybe a lot of times employees of the businesses that were down here, and they were killing parking places for their very neighbors, for all the businesses downtown. So that's the only reason why we got this started in the first place, was to help our businesses downtown. And that's what we're continuing to try to do. So please get that word out. It's not going to change when you first come downtown. You can park just like you always have. Just note the time when you park and realize that you really only have 2 hours, although some will game the system and say, well, I'm gonna bet that he doesn't make it around until half an hour after I parked. But just know that you've only got 2 hours, and try to get back to your car within that amount of time. So.
I kind of think in a nutshell too, if you're just spending 45 minutes to an hour to grab a meal or get a cup of coffee or something like that, you're not really going to see any change whatsoever from the way it is now.
Yes, yeah.
Jack, I think it might also be worth noting to your friend at church that there are still free parking spots downtown, a block or two out of the central business district. If you don't mind walking a block or two, you can park all day.
All day, yeah.
Free.
And that's been that way and will continue to be that way.
At this point, it's very fluid, but we are getting closer to September. I've been telling people it's status quo, other than fines are likely going to go up. The council will probably support that for those that violate. We will be far more efficient because we have 2 compliance officers with computer equipment that can move much faster and encourage you to comply with that 2-hour window. The last thing that is very different is you can actually start your session. Justin, right now, for those that are still reluctant to start a session with their phone, Justin is very likely going to propose to council that you support purchasing 2 kiosks. So even if you don't want to use a phone, but you'd like to start a session to park longer than 2 hours, you'll be able to go to 2 kiosks and get into the system that way rather than using your phone. So
one of the beauties that I see, I believe I understand this correctly, if you park somewhere and you're there for an hour and 50 minutes, you're at a birthday party and it's going to take a little longer, you don't have to go back to your car. You can get on your phone and extend it an hour, which you can't do now. What people are doing now is just simply moving their car to another space, but this solves a lot of problems, and it really, like everybody said, it doesn't change anything.
And you can do that as long as you start the session on your phone.
Yeah, before the 2 hours.
So it's still fluid, but we are getting closer. I really appreciate Justin's work on this. There's been countless people also involved, but as the point person, he's been very open. He's been communicating with residents, the downtown merchants, other stakeholders, and we're getting really close to trying something that is very different, and again, I believe far more efficient and effective and fair to promote turnover in the downtown. thanks, Jack, for your comments there. I will tell everybody today, I did get a text from the Deer Task Force point person, and he's asking for a pre-meet to get ready for our next year. So it's July already. Here we go. So couldn't believe it. I didn't expect that text this morning from Todd Braddock. So, any other matters?
He been eating my house this summer, you're going now.
You're ready for them now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from those attending tonight? Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Hey, Nick. I get to go to Oshkosh this year.
Oh.
I know, I can't wait.
All righty.
I talked to the guy that